Hi everyone, thanks for joining the show today. I want to give a bit of backstory to the conversation I'm about to have. But I did a sales training last month, and at that training was a company, and one of the individuals there who I'm going to be speaking with now, we discussed about listening to your phone calls. Now, this was something that he hadn't actually done. And if anyone knows me with my sales training, I don't just want to have a sales training day and that's it and they never hear from me again. We agreed that he would, on his next phone call, his next real substantial phone call, he would record that call, send it to me, I'd go through it, he'd go through it, and then we'd go through this in a phone call together. So without no further ado, I bring on to the show today, Nicole. You want to bring yourself on camera, Nicole? Hi, Nicole.
Hi there, Mark.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you today?
Yeah, good, thank you. So we've been through a couple of things before this call, so you're well aware of kind of what we want to go through, what we want to discuss. But when we spoke last month at a training session, you mentioned that you hadn't listened to any of your phone calls before. That's correct, yeah?
You're right.
Okay, and now you've actually gone and listened to one of them, yes?
Yep. It took me time, but I did make it work finally.
Okay, yeah, because we couldn't work out how to record it. We couldn't work out how to send it over as well. We had a real back and forth with that, didn't we?
Yeah, that we did.
Yeah.
So that's how we shared our WhatsApp details.
Exactly, yeah. Now, when we discussed on a training session, I said to you, if you remember, that no one really takes their sales seriously unless they actually record their calls and listen to them. You remember this?
Yes, Mark, I do.
Yeah. So now you've listened to the phone call. Do you notice that there's a difference? Like, what have you kind of picked up on?
Okay, so I feel all of this goes back to our training, and what I learned from it. So it's all about listening. It's not just about the sales pitch or what you put across. So this being a big client or a big prospect as such, it's Fiat Chrysler, right? So it's a very big deal for me. So I figured, you know what, I'd record this for you. It's a perfect call for you. I was patient. I was patient in this call, and being my very first call, I was conscious, of course. So yeah, I paid attention. I listened to the client. Um, I asked a couple of questions. Try to get in touch with what they are looking for instead of what we're trying to offer. So I think I did a couple of things differently over this call.
Okay, so you feel even from the training to going on that phone call, there was a difference, yeah?
Yep, definitely.
So you feel like if you would have recorded that call before the training, then you wouldn't have been happy to listen to it?
No, I would have been a little panicky because in that instance, the person I was speaking with is in a very high position in Fiat Chrysler automobile, so it was a big deal for me. So I took a step back, I took a deep breath, and went all in.
Amazing. That's good. That's very good to hear. That's very good to hear. But I mean, there's one thing thinking you've said the right thing, but there's another actually listening to it and realizing that maybe there was things that you didn't say or that you wanted to say and couldn't believe that you said that. So are there any things that stand out for you from that phone call?
Okay, as I was listening to my phone call, I realized that okay, so before I went into the phone call, I wanted to touch on my client's objectives, right? His company's objectives and what's set for him. But while on the call, I went with the flow and I completely went over that point. Like I completely went past it.
Yeah.
So that was something I wanted to touch on because clients are always eager to work with someone who is there to help them achieve their objectives. So it's a two-way street. So I wanted to do that, but when I listened to the call, I realized I completely missed it.
So why do you think that happens from listening to it? Why do you think that happens?
Um, I think you have to really pen down the questions that you have for a call or for any meeting as such. And I didn't have that question penned down as such, so I went with the flow. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I would have written it down before I went ahead with the call.
That's interesting because when we did the training, we went over that, didn't we? We went about having some questions written down, which you said you used to do, and then you stopped doing, but now you were going to do it again, but you didn't do it this time, yeah?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
I should get back into it.
But as we discussed with the training, though, it's not a case of, right, that's exactly what you got to say in that exact order, and if it goes any different, then the call's been bad. The reason why we have those questions written down is that we can ask a question and actually listen to the client rather than, you know, trying to make up what to think of next. It's our base to work from. Yeah.
Okay, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. So have the questions written down, but be prepared to listen to them and go with go in their direction, but still be in control of it with achieving the objectives that you want to from the phone call.
Okay. Yeah. I believe that by the end I was able to achieve what I wanted to.
Okay. Which was what? What did you want to achieve?
Teams. I mean, in today's time and age, I mean, considering COVID, right? You
Yeah.
cannot meet them face to face. So I secured a Teams call, which is
Okay.
what I was looking for, because that's where the real deal goes down.
Okay.
You know, basically a meeting. So
Okay. So because on the phone call you agreed to have a discussion, I think again on Monday, wasn't it?
yeah, that kept getting pushed back because the client had it was the ending of the what do you say? It was a quarterly ending.
Yeah.
So they had a lot of work and I couldn't get that meeting. So I had a call with him this week and
Okay.
it's pushed to next Monday.
Okay.
I've already booked a meeting. Yeah.
So the objective wasn't achieved then?
It was
Sorry,
set.
was the objective to book the meeting, or was the objective to actually in the end get it done, like to get that meeting done? Because that's about 3 weeks ago, yeah? That would be.
Wow, it's been 3 weeks, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think I recorded it towards the end of October, which was probably 24th, 25th, around that day.
Yeah.
Because that's when I remember it. And I had to give the client some time. But
Yeah.
something I learned in our training was whenever a client says that they're busy right then, you got to ask them for time so that you can call them back. You can't just say okay and say you'll call them later and keep the phone, because it's so open-ended.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've learned something from there, and I applied that in this situation, and I kept getting times and time slots to get back to the client, which worked.
Nice. Yeah. So the thing is, from listening to that phone call, he seems like a very, very genuine person, a really nice guy, and he was very, very forthcoming with information. But you know what it is? Like sometimes, even when you're going to get a date and a time, sometimes they're kind of just delaying saying no to you. And I'm not saying he's saying no to you, because he seems like he's genuinely going to have a meeting with you and everything, yeah? But if you feel like that's happening and it just keeps on getting extended, say to him, what would it take for us to do business right now?
Okay.
Yeah?
I will do that, yeah.
Because the thing is, once is okay, twice is okay, but when he keeps on saying the third time, the fourth time, the fifth time, you're wasting your time, really. So that question reveals everything. Actually, Nicole, we're happy with our company, existing company at the moment. Appreciate your time, but that's it. Like you'll get to it. And I think if you look through your opportunity list at the moment, there's probably a few that you can ask that question to, and you'll really reveal everything if it's actually possible for the deal to happen.
You're right. That is a question that we need to put forward to a client now and then, because yeah, you're right.
And it comes with confidence. And as we say, like if you keep on saying it again and again and again, and you're practicing it with your colleagues, when it comes to game time, you're like, come on, my time is worth money here. Yeah, I can't be wasting it calling up people trying to book meetings that are never going to happen.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just, I'm very happy and proud that you learned something from the training, but that's now another step. So it's great you asked the question to get another time to speak to them, but if they keep on doing it, you just need to kill it and just be like, what would it take for us to do this deal? Or what is stopping us from moving forward here?
Yeah.
You know,
You're right.
I'm sure.
That'll really put the foot down.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
sure in your head you're probably thinking of 4 or 5 clients now that are like, God, they're wasting my time, really.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I've got a list, so I'm gonna get to them next week.
Well, look, it's better to work from a list that's realistic than work from a list that's, you know, instead of a pipeline, it's a dream line.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's deep.
I learned that one today actually in a meeting. We were discussing with the sales director there, and he said, you know, I speak with these sales guys and they think they've got a pipeline, but they've got a dream line. So, Patrick, thank you very much for that one today. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Shout out to Patrick.
Shout out to Patrick. Yeah, exactly. So, just let me set it up a little bit here. So, I kind of wrote a few things down, which after listening to the phone call, which I thought was quite important. But going forward from this, like, is there anything else you think you're gonna implement or change from listening to the phone call?
I think I should record a little bit more. You know, record a couple of more phone calls to uh, really really listen to and see what changes I can make to myself with my approaches to clients. So yeah, as of now, I feel I did do pretty well, but I'm waiting for your output.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Since you've had that phone call with that client, have you recorded any other phone calls?
No, that was the only one, because
that?
it was a little bit of a hassle recording it that day. I had to find an empty room. I had to put it on loudspeaker. Yeah.
But you see the value in it?
Yes, that I do.
Okay.
Definitely.
Do you think if your company were to arrange it so that is possible for you to do all the time, do you see the value in that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think this is something I will bring forward. Yeah.
They should have a recording system, really. I mean, I'm not in selling of a recording system. That's not my job. But I'm saying like every company should have something like that where they can record the call. It goes through to your computer and you can listen to it.
You're right, Mark.
Yeah.
I should put this. I should pitch this to the company.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Look. So let's go through the phone call. So you spoke with a person who is a decision maker. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes. Okay. That was the right contact.
Okay, that was the right contact. And at the time, he was going through. He was having a test done for a COVID test. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what was going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought that was good. I mean, you know, you asked him if it was still okay to speak. You didn't pressure him. That was nice. I like that. Now, I've written down here, you said, I want to speak for a minute or two. And then you said to him, actually, it might take more than a minute or two. So why did you change this?
Okay. So the minute or two was first asked for because I wanted to draw a picture for him.
Okay.
To let him know that this is what I wanted to talk about. Then I said it'll take a little bit more time because he said he had some time with him.
Okay.
You know, because I wanted to see if there's something solid we can work on.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, because of the situation, I had to change that up.
Yeah, I think with that, like, so many times as salespeople, we end up saying, oh, have you got a minute to speak? And the truth is, you need 10, 15 minutes. You know, so there's nothing worse than a sales guy going, oh, have you got a minute to speak? All right, well, I'm going to hang up after 1 minute. So what have you got? And then he says, no, it actually takes longer than that. So I'd be like, well, why did you lie to me? You know, so I like the fact that you told him that it's going to take longer than a couple of minutes, will take a bit longer. And if he's okay with that, you can continue.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to establish right in the beginning.
Yeah.
And he told me, he even gave me the permission to go ahead because he had some time.
Yeah, because you asked for permission, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Good, okay. So they're working with one of your competitors at the moment, yes?
You're right.
Yeah. And he was maybe open to working with another type of company.
Correct.
Yeah? Okay. One thing I would say is that even though you acknowledge that you want to be listening more, when he was speaking, you although you were saying okay, which is fine, you tried to butt in a couple of times with him. So when he was telling you a little bit about a little bit about the competitor and what they've been doing and why he's open to speaking with you, you tried to interrupt him, and you stopped yourself after a couple of seconds, but still, like, that could have made him go silent, and then he wouldn't tell you anything. Now, luckily, he was quite open to speaking with you, but some people would just be like, as soon as they heard you trying to interrupt, they would just go silent.
You're right, Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that I did notice as well. It just didn't hit me until you brought it up.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, that's something that I got to work on, because when a client speaks, and if there's a point which I could, not conflict, but which I could, which I have something else in my mind about, then I bring it up. I bring up the point that I have.
Yeah.
But it's just a debating the person who loves debating that comes out at that point. So this is something that I got to note down. I got to jot down the points where I would like to speak on later, and just give the client their time to speak about, to keep talking.
So remember, if you've got those 5-6 things that you want to mention, you've got those written down, so there's no need to butt in, because you're going to remember them because they're written down, and then you can listen to him and actually write what he's saying down, because there was a lot of gems there which he was revealing, and you were about to rudely interrupt him.
You're right.
Yeah.
That is something I should work on.
Cool. Look, I want to make something clear as well. Like, this is the first time you've listened to your phone call, and you were very conscious about me actually listening to this as well. So if we take those things into account, I would say that although there's room for improvement, it's definitely a good start. So you should be pleased with what you've done. But as we know, this is only going to get better by you continuously listening to your calls, making notes, comparing it with your colleagues, and actioning them.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah.
Cool.
It is the practice that I will start following.
Yeah. Now, he was talking about being open to having a competitor come and speak to him like yourselves, okay? But he was also very happy with the company that he was using already. Now, one thing I would say, like, because you had good rapport with him, you were speaking to him, like, if he's so happy, but he's on the phone call to you, there has to be something. So what would make him move over? What would it take to make you move over?
Okay, is that a question to me, or is
that's a question to him? That's a question to him, because I know you say you wanted to get on a Teams call with him, but there's also like room there to really understand, like, is this actually possible or not? Or does he just need to get some tenders together to put a bid together so he can look like he can get a better deal from the competitor?
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He mentioned
what I
about
understood
pride.
From the call.
What's that?
Okay, go ahead. No, I was just saying what I understood from that call when he told me that he's open to competitors as well as myself.
Yeah.
What I understood was his distributors had some concerns regarding the pricing. Yeah. But when he brought up the pricing bit is when I asked him about the service. That's when he said he was really happy with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't have much to work with other than the pricing factor there.
Okay, but remember, it's not always about price. Remember? So it's not about price, it's about cost. So although he's paying X amount, like we've discussed, are they delivering it on time? Are the certificates coming in enough time? Like, those types of things where there is a price, but if you're going to save them in other places, which he might have alerted you to with that question, like things that he's not happy with. Because it's not always about price. I know that he said like it's about price, but what is the reason for that price? Like, would he pay more money to save more money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a real thing. Yeah.
So you haven't lost anything yet, because remember, you've still got this Teams meeting with him. But these are the types of things that we want to mention. So as you mentioned in our previous discussion, you mentioned about price, but can you go into more detail about that, please? Or like you said, you were happy with your competitor, with the other company. What would it take for you to move over?
Okay.
Yeah. It's
All
not
right.
aggressive.
I'm noting these down. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It's not aggressive. Like if he said in the right, you're very calmly spoken. You're not rude. He'll be okay with it. Like that's the way I got it. He's quite open to discuss stuff, so there's no issue there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if it's a Teams meeting, you'll be able to record this, won't you? I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Teams meetings easier. Yeah.
Okay, so you can record that, and then we can have a listen to that one afterwards as well.
Sure, Mark. That
Remember, I won't be listening to it, so don't worry about it. Okay, don't worry about that until after. Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. When it's on a Teams call, it's face to face, and
Yeah.
I'm good. I won't be conscious there.
You're in your zone.
Yep.
So one last thing from it, because we're only about a quarter of the way through this actual potential deal, is that he mentions that he's not the one paying. Okay, so it doesn't really matter to him. But if he comes back with something like the most amazing thing ever that's going to solve all of their problems, he's doing a good job, isn't he?
Yeah, that he is.
Yeah, so we should be, remember what I said, what's WIIFM?
What's in it for me?
Exactly. There you go. So that's like, if he's not paying, then what else can you be doing for this person? So he will champion it and make sure that he brings you into the company.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's something I can. Yeah, you're right.
Now it could be that he really likes you because you had a nice bit of rapport with him. It could be timing. It could be all of these things. But really try and find that out. Like, what would make him stand out and be amazing in that company, which you can help him with.
Okay, it's basically putting the client's interest in front of you.
Yeah, because the truth is, whether he goes with you or continues with your competitor, it doesn't make any difference to him. So what is in it for him, for him to actually want to make sure that he brings you in?
Okay, you're right.
Cool. And as we discussed, you got a call to action, but we don't want that to drag out. So after this Teams meeting, like, you really need to have that meeting with him first of all. Yeah, okay. and then have another call to action after that. But everything should have, right, why am I getting on this phone call? What do I want to achieve? And what do I want the outcome to be from it?
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, those are the 3 questions, right?
Exactly, yeah. Any questions you want to ask me?
No, I think we've touched upon everything, right?
Yeah? Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to watching this Teams video with you speaking with this guy. That should be enjoyable.
Sure thing, yeah.
Yeah, but how's everything been okay since then?
Everything's good, man. Everything's all right. You know, since the year's not been that great,
Yeah.
like business wise as well. Our targets are something that we're really striving to achieve.
Okay.
So, you know, this particular client, this call as well is a big deal for me. If
Okay.
that, you know, if that works out, if that clicks, then I might get the target close. Like I might closely be able to achieve it.
Okay. Do me a
So,
favor. Don't like. It's not all about hitting the target. Okay. You serve this guy the right way, the deal will happen. So don't let him sniff that this is massive for you.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let that out because yeah, you
Be
know, I believe.
respectful. Be respectful, and be that you know. As you said on that phone call, you would love to work with him. They're a great company, you know, so that's great. But remember as well, you're doing them a service where you're going to help them. So they need you. Remember
Right.
that you're adding value to them as well. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. You're right.
All right.
So
Well, I hope
yeah,
the training has helped over the last month from the training session. I'm really pleased you recorded the call, you had to listen to it, and we were able to do this because I really wanted to do a follow-up with you to try and help you.
thank you, Mark. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And I appreciate the effort you put in here.
Thanks for listening
So,
and watching, guys. I hope there were
thanks,
some
man.
real gems that you get
Well,
inspired by.
let's catch up after the team's call.
Within the description,
But,
I tried
fingers
to mention
crossed.
everything that's been spoken about, but on a
And
daily basis,
go get
I
them,
put
okay?
out content to inspire and help
All right,
others.
man. Sounds good.
Take
To
care.
see
Have a
more,
good weekend.
please like,
You too, Mark.
subscribe, and
Thank
follow
you.
me
Cheers.
on
Bye-bye.
Instagram,
Cheers.
LinkedIn, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. Search by the name Mark Sclair. Thank you very much again, and I hope you enjoy the journey.